Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Move Over Extroverts book club. Today we are talking about client appreciation events, and let's get into it. This is one of my favorite topics because it's very customizable. So it's a good way to keep in touch with your past clients and invite your prospects. I'm a fan of inviting your prospects and your leads and even just friends and referral partners and inviting like more people, the better, to these events. Because one of the objections that I hear, especially from newer agents or agents with smaller businesses, they're like, well, I don't have 100 past clients to invite to an event. That's okay. It, first of all, doesn't have to be a 100-person event, but secondly, you can invite whoever you want. So I want to hear from you all. What's been your experience? Have you hosted an event? How'd it go? Do you want to, but not sure where to start? Let's talk it out.
Okay, I'll go. And I'm sorry about the road noise. I am driving
You're
on the
good.
interstate. So, I host like at least two client events a year, like big ones, and then I do smaller ones also. Um, so my biggest one is Chinese New Year. My husband's Chinese, and so we like sell out like a 50-person banquet, and we've been doing it for 9 years. So it's a
Wow.
lot of fun, and I'm always like looking for ways to improve it and for people to have a better experience because I hate going to events like that. But other people like it, so I want to make it fun for them. So,
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And then what do your smaller events look like?
so my two micro events, I call them Note Card Club. They are like I do a lot of art, so I just put all of my art stuff out on like my kitchen counter, and then I usually have like 8 to 12 women come over, and we just like do stuff, paint and talk for 2 hours, and then they go home.
That's really cool. So it's like
Yeah.
kind of crafts and kind of art.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Some people bring their own stuff, and then some people just color like coloring pages that I have. Some people will like paint because I have a ton of art supplies, so
Yeah.
I just let them like do whatever they want.
And I'm assuming that you're interested in that sort of thing too. That's why you have all the supplies.
Yes, I have. Yes,
So
I do a lot of stuff.
that's where everyone watching this should start. Start
Yeah.
with your own personal interests. It'll make it easier, it'll make it more fun, just
Mhm.
all around good stuff. And you might
That's,
have a house full of art supplies that you can already use. So
yeah.
I love that. And do these events result in business?
I mean, yeah, I think last year I was at 70% referrals for 30 transactions. So yeah, and a lot of them are my YouTube clients. So like I have a YouTube channel. And so like I'm connecting people to each other and they find a lot of value in that because I don't have any friends because they moved here from wherever. So
Yeah.
that's usually what's happening. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's another huge benefit to the client of hosting events is growing their networks, and you never know what
Yeah.
could come of that. Business
Yes.
partnerships or friendships or just having a social outlet. That's amazing.
Yes. That's why I like Chinese New Year. I'm really kind of intentional about who I sit people next to, and like introducing them with like, hey, like they just finished this program and you just started it. So like maybe you have something to talk about because yeah. So that's usually what I'm trying to accomplish at those events. And I just read the 2 hour cocktail party.
Ooh, I haven't read that one.
Yeah, so it was really enlightening on how
What's
to
that
host small
about?
events. So it's Nick Gray. I think he still lives in New York City, but he outlined like how to host a 2 hour party and like the steps, his system for doing that. So he like built like a network in a new city by hosting a cocktail party. And I've heard a lot of other people doing similar things. So like he says to do it on like Tuesday or Wednesday nights, which would not fly in Oklahoma, but I do mine on Saturday afternoons and I don't serve alcohol because people here really don't drink. So like things like that. But his system is amazing. Like made so much sense and just like helps everyone feel really included.
Mhm.
Especially like he has this one text that he does like 3 or 4 days before to everyone, and it he introduces like 5 or 6 people who are going to be there and like something about them. Which for an introvert, I'm like, oh, thank you. I needed to know who was going to be there.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. All right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to, we had some people who just hopped on. Can you repeat the name of that book so we can all hear?
Yes, it's 2 Hour Cocktail Party by Nick Gray.
2 Hour Cocktail Party. All right. I'm gonna have to check that out. I love it. I love small events. I love big events. They are, so I'm gonna keep asking you because you are doing this successfully and have a system.
We'll take this off so we can get some.
How do you manage your own energy as the host and planner of these events?
Um, well, everyone knows I'm an introvert. I'm not like quiet about that. Like everybody knows. So they understand that like what they're getting from me is really valuable because like I don't just invite anyone into my home or like whatever. So everyone understands that. So I'm really kind of loud about it. And then I just, prepping for it, like taking the 2 days off afterwards, making sure I can sleep in the day after, um, making sure that, like my husband, like make sure that he doesn't schedule another social event on top of that event. So yeah, because I do that during the week. Like I can only do 1 or 2 social things a day, typically.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
that's beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's
yeah,
perfect. That's perfect. Everyone steal this model. Tailor it to make it your own, but steal the
yes,
concept of having very intentional events and protecting your energy before and after and making sure you're not overextending yourself. Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
yep,
What a great start to the call.
yes.
All right, I saw Paul and Mark both jumped on. Hi, welcome. And we haven't heard yet from Sharon. So, who would like to go next in terms of either sharing what's working for you or asking a question? Mark said his camera and mic is not working. That's totally okay. You can just be here and listen.
I'll go next.
Thanks.
Um, really, all I have to say is I actually haven't done um, client events. It's something that we hear about all the time on the pivot shift call,
Mhm.
and it's an interesting idea, and I just haven't taken action on it. So I'm mostly listening today.
Nice. So for you, I would say, is it something you want to do, or is it something that is not really in your business plan? Because both are okay. These are all, the point of this section of the book is to give a lot of ideas and for everyone to choose a couple that you want to dive into and just leave the rest over here.
Well, I think the main one that I'm intrigued about doing one of these years is the blessing baskets, because I like
Mm.
the idea of bringing people together to, benefit the community. Um, so I don't know if you'd consider that an event or not.
I would. I mean, in some ways. So would you mind just explaining for everyone what that is in case someone hasn't heard of that before?
Sure. Um, Blessing baskets are where you contact people in your database, probably a lot of people, because the goal is to collect. um, I don't know, you might start small with like 25, but some agents do 100 or 150, they get. And so you send out a list. There's a fairly specific list of um, items that you put in the basket, and the basket is essentially for a holiday meal. So it often happens around Thanksgiving, and um, in the basket is included a certificate for turkey that you can pick up at a local grocery store. You know, sometimes you can get a grocery store to donate them, sometimes not. And then you usually partner, or the best practices is to partner with a local school, because the general consensus is that the teachers at the school tend to know fairly clearly what kids have families that need this sort of thing.
Sure.
So generally, you arrange a time to, time, and usually that, people drop them off like at the school at a particular location, and then the school takes charge of the baskets. The reason you go with a school and not with like a local food pantry or something is that the food pantries evidently tend to disassemble the baskets.
Hmm.
So it kind of defeats the purpose
Right.
of, a person gathering all the things for one meal that is then given. And then you use like a $2 laundry basket from dollar store and that sort of thing.
I like that a lot. I think it's a great way to support the community, obviously. It's a great reason to reach out to your entire database and local business owners and really anyone because you're asking for a donation. You could make it an event if you had like an assembly party and brought everyone together to put everything together in one spot. So that could make it more of an event.
Well, they're supposed to actually purchase all the stuff in advance, and like you could set up an Amazon list. Here's all the stuff. All you have to do is click to buy it,
Gotcha.
uh, sort of thing. The other event that I have been interested in is those pie events where you
Mm.
let everybody know that you're going to be at this particular store, and they can come by and get a free pie.
I've done that before, not in a store, but in like a separate location where we had already purchased all the pies, brought them to the location, and then people came and picked it up, and we had music, and we had a photographer there, and they could get pictures taken. So it was like, it was a little more involved, but people really did love coming to a spot and picking up a free pie.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a good event for introverts too, because the attendees, if they want to be chatty and hang around, they can, but a lot of them are just like, "Hi, good to see you. How's it going?" 5-minute conversation, and then they're gone. So it's that's a good idea. I like that one. See what I mean? There's so many different variables and variations on this concept. You can really tailor it to what you want to do. Paul, good to see you. Do you have any thoughts on client events?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I've done the pies and our office. I did it at our office at our market center. The office said, "Hey, any agents, do you want to order any pies?" So they did the ordering and they delivered them to our office. So then I reserved a conference room like during pie pickup time. So I didn't have to go get the pies. They just showed up and I just invited my clients to come. And ahead of time, I went out to my database and asked who wanted one and would you
Mhm.
be willing to come time. And so that helped with just being in touch with people, right?
Yeah,
And and that was relatively effective. Some people said they would come and they couldn't make it or whatever.
sure.
So then I would go, deliver them after the fact. But so that one, I think that's been good. My challenge has been that they usually don't come trickling in. They come in like small groups, like in bunches.
Yeah.
And so now I'm socially trying to juggle like wanting to receive them warmly um and connect with them while not sort of like some people want to come in and like run away, and I want to talk. So
Yeah.
so that's a little bit of a challenge, but I've managed. So I've recruited help. So instead of like fumbling with the pies, I have someone sort of getting the pies, marking it off, doing that, and then I can socialize. So that was helpful.
Hmm.
And then I've done an event called what I call Picnic in the Park. And I've done this basically in September. And I've reserved a pavilion in one of our city parks. And I've partnered with a lender and gotten sponsors for it. So I'm not shelling out all the money. And
Right.
um, and so we've done it 3 times. And the first couple of times uh, we we just ordered food from like a barbecue place and ordered the food and had it catered, and just came. And so that was great. The next time we just got sandwiches from local grocery store because our budget wasn't as much. And then last year we hired a food truck. So we attached a charity to it. So I'm trying to think about like, okay, how can we make it, kind of a so our this lender was supporting it. Her her partner has a nonprofit. It's called Food Trucks Against Homelessness,
Oh,
and so it's
cool.
a non for profits that helps the homeless. And so we decided to do the picnic in the park. Come, enjoy like a lunch and hang out. And we had games there, and sometimes some prizes and some giveaways and things like that. And then they can also donate. They can also donate items for the homeless or cash for the nonprofit. So relatively effective, especially maybe the first year wasn't as big because whatever, but then it was like the second annual and the third annual, and so they started saving things up, and the donations have been more and more every year. So I'd say largely pretty cool. So there you go.
That's so many good ideas. I love the leverage of using the office for the pies. And I love the idea of like what Marcy does, where it's the same thing every year, and then people start looking forward to it and getting excited and building that momentum and having a charitable component. That's huge too. So, so many good ideas. I think one of my favorite events that I hosted was at this art auction place, and they do tours after hours. You can like rent out the space, and all the art people are there, and you just I had to bring in food, I had to bring in a bar and like a licensed bartender and all of that, but they gave tours of the facility, and people got to see all the cool antiquities and art pieces that were up for auction. And it was just kind of a very different environment that was pretty memorable. But that was expensive, and I did not get sponsors, which I should have. That was one of my very first client events, so I've learned from that over the years. But something outside the box like that's kind of cool. I also just heard about, I think they're local to Massachusetts, but there's a food truck that's just ice cream, and the name of their company is Ice Cream Emergency, which I thought was adorable. And she said it's a $500 minimum, which seems very reasonable. So I might consider that for an event in the future.
So you reminded me, Ashley, when you said the art thing. Um, One idea that I got from Meg Dady years ago was a photo day where you
Mhm.
hire a photographer and you invite the clients. So I did that one year, and it was pretty fantastic. Got a sponsor, a lender sponsor, and he's an artist himself. So we had them come to his art studio, and right outside the art studio were these murals in this alleyway, and the photographer snapped photos of my clients with the murals in the background,
Cool.
not his mural. So that one was like really great, but I could never get it together again to do again. But I now that because I forgot about it and whatever, but I thought that one was a cool one, and they had these awesome photos. So there you go.
Yeah. It sounds like that's potentially really great social media content too. If people love posting photos of themselves in front of a mural. I don't know why, but it's a thing. I like it. Great ideas, everybody. Anyone have anything else they want to add or any questions? Hosting events is very much choose your own adventure. So if it's in your business plan, do what works well, improve on it. If it's not, you can add it, you can not add it, you can do whatever you want. That's all I have for inspiration today, guys. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I will see you next week, hopefully. All right. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
See you next week.